but you're going nowhere. Don't blame me for what you've done, because I know that you were having fun.
Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast, exposing the real estate secrets your agent doesn't want you to know. Here's your host, Tom Clary.
Don't you just walk away. That's when I'll say.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Clarified Realty Podcast. My name is Tom Clary, and I'm your host. I'm a real estate agent here in the beautiful state of California, Los Angeles to be exact. I'm here with my co-host and lender extraordinaire, Ron Bruno. Ron, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, Tom.
Good. So, as you can see at the end of the table, we are deep into Girl Scout cookie season.
Woohoo!
Yeah. My daughter and wife are out there pounding the pavement.
Yes?
Pushing their sugar. on unsuspecting. You know, it's funny is I literally, before we came here, I was dropping off some cookies with a friend of mine. And he kind of broke open the s'mores. You know, the s'mores. And I was like, "Here, you want to try one?" kind of thing. And I kind of weirdly felt. And by the way, please, I've never done drugs in my life, but it kind of felt like doing a joint with your what's it called, your source. You know, like, hey, you want to have a joint with me? You know, kind of thing.
There you go.
It really kind of felt like that.
You're pusher. He was giving you the first taste.
The first taste. You know, it's like, hey man, you want to watch some movies and.
You know, one of my Christmas presents from Karen, she got us a gift certificate for E Creamery.
Oh,
so we have 10,
E Creamery. What is that?
10 pints of ice cream on our way. It's a delivery service for ice cream.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, my parents used to own an ice cream store.
Oh,
I didn't know that. We owned Clary's Ice Cream in Tarzana, California. And you know, I used to have a neighbor who would, like, every time he'd see me, I was like 2 pounds heavier, and he'd be like, "Oh, you're eating all the profits, I see."
No.
You know? And it's like, you know. So every once in a while, though, I like a good old.
I worked at an ice cream store during high school.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. So I worked at Ice Creams and Coffee Beans in Hilton Head Island.
Oh, interesting.
So I worked there in the evenings, and then during the day, I was a pool attendant.
Yeah, right. You were the cabana boy,
I was
right?
the cabana boy.
That's right.
So you imagine, like, what work wasn't even work,
right?
Right? Because I just hung out by the pool.
I ate ice cream, and then I
got a great tan, and I had to clean up vomit and nasty stuff all over the and glass and all that kind of stuff, and tell kids not to run around. But yeah, we were able to enjoy the scenery, and then at night, all our friends came over, and I try to keep them away from doing whippets all the time.
Whippets.
Yes.
So it's funny, the when I think about the ice cream store, I always remember and our family still like wistfully looks back on it like it was like this amazing like golden time of our it's the golden age of the Clary family,
right?
And we used to be closed on Sundays, and we would go
Chick-fil-A.
It wasn't like some sort of religious thing. It was more like mom and dad just didn't want to go in that day because they worked their butts off.
Sure.
But what would be funny was that we'd drive around the valley, or we'd drive around and all that, and we'd always end up at the ice cream store because we just wanted some ice cream.
Why not?
And so we'd sit there eating our ice cream, and people would be like knocking on the window,
right?
Like, can we come in and have that? And we're like, nope,
sorry,
this is for us. This is only for us. I used to love that.
Oh, I mean, I was the popular kid in school because I was able to bring everybody tacos. So
I know.
My parents had the Taco Bell. And
that would be dangerous for me when I was.
Yeah. So anytime there was a party, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm bringing the tacos," or like, "Here's where the party is," and you don't even have to bring beer. So that was my social currency.
I think Taco Bell qualifies for me as my favorite fast food chain.
It's great stuff.
It's like crack sometimes. Like when it really hits, Jack in the Box is incredibly close second.
Ooh, see, I can't get around. Can't get around the Jack and the Crack. That whole thing.
Thing.
Yeah.
There's something I love that they swerve. Speaking of doing the weed,
right?
But they're really swerving into that whole thing with their munchie meals at after 9 p.m.
Right.
With like the chicken croissant something or other, and it's like with tacos, and it's like we know exactly who your target audience is. You're not fooling anybody.
People that are not making good decisions decisions.
Not anybody who shouldn't be going through the drive-through, to be perfectly honest.
True.
Right?
True.
Right? They should not be. And I feel like we're going to see a big boom in the Jack in the Box bottom line in the next, now that California is completely legal. So,
True.
Not really, because, Jeff Sessions has something to say about that. But,
Yeah.
But, it was, it's so funny that it brings up those, remember the ice cream, 10 pints of ice cream?
10 pints of ice cream is coming our way, and we also you pushed some cookies on us too, so we're gonna have some
you
Girl Scout
are
cookies.
one of our victims.
Yeah.
It's funny though when you're talking about the pints. I'm also thinking about they have this new thing, Halo Top. Have you heard about that?
Halo Top.
Halo Top is a type of ice cream, right?
Yes, I have heard about
right.
That. Yes,
and it's like
yes,
and I love that they're totally swerving into this whole crash of we know you're sitting in your living room watching your stories and eating the entire pint.
Correct.
Because they're advertising it. It's 320 calories for a pint. It's like, hey, we know you're going to eat this whole pint.
Right.
You fat
we
son of a
realize
bitch.
You have no self-control.
So we're going to this is what the calories are for it. Have at it. We've made it less for you.
Nice.
It's an interesting kind of business
smart.
model, I think.
Pretty smart. Yeah.
So today is going to be a little bit of we're going to be doing our news today. It's going to be a bit abbreviated, but we got some good stories today. So Ron, why don't you go ahead and tell us what's top of the docket?
Yeah, so the first one we have here, this is from Mortgage News Daily, which I don't expect anybody to read except for myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it is very specialized.
That's the one you walk past in order to get to the LA Times or the New York Times.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the headline of this one is mortgage rates still on a scary ride.
Oh, boy.
So if you haven't been looking at rates, if you haven't been, either looking at a home or looking at a refi, you probably don't know this, but the 10-year has actually gone up about 50 basis points.
Yeah.
Since about the third or fourth quarter of last year.
Right.
Right. And what that means is that also has translated to higher interest rates.
Yeah.
Right. So this time back in September, we were at about 3.875 on an FHA 30-year fixed, and now we're at about 4.375.
Right.
Right. So it's gone up about 3/8, almost a half a point.
Right.
In terms of that rate. Right. And what's driving this has been first of all the tax bill. Right. So the idea there is that. Okay, so Trump took the corporate tax rate from 35% down to 21%,
right.
And also, really gave a lot of incentives for companies to continue to build an infrastructure, right?
Right.
So what that's doing is it's putting inflationary pressure.
Yeah.
Also, earlier this month, the Fed had actually come out and also with the GDP, they revised the numbers upwards.
Right.
Right. So now they're targeting inflation at around 2.9 and 3% versus they were looking at about 2.5, 2.7. So, nothing crazy, but we're in kind of uncharted territory that we haven't seen in the past 8 years.
Yeah.
Right. Ever since the crash, it's been this whole thing where they can't get the economy to move.
Right.
And, I'm not giving credit to Trump, but what's happening around the world is things are heating up.
Well, and, look, I'm not going to go, whether or not Trump or, whatever is helping to push the economy. The economy is, that's one thing. And let's go ahead and push that off to the side for right now. The thing, and it was fascinating because in our Alexa skill that you had today, that you sent me today, it was, and you may even be getting to this on your story, but I found it incredibly disturbing that they're going to be possibly moving from 3 interest rate hits this year
to 4.
To 4.
Yep.
And I think that is, if you're even thinking about buying a house right now,
yep,
it's if you haven't called a lender, if you have not been out looking, honestly, this is the gateway. This is going to be that day that you remember that, oh shoot, I should have done it right then.
Right.
Because this is my fear. All those people who went out when the crash happened and bought up all the investment properties and they're now all rentals, right? I don't see them letting go of those anytime soon, right? So we have all that inventory that's now been gobbled up, right? So that leaves even less out there. Home builders, they waited a pretty long time to get started, and there's some stuff here and there that's popping up. And we're also, like we talked about in the other episode just recently, about regulations getting in the way of them building. So guys, what's happening is there are fewer options for you to get out there and buy. So when you compare, when you combine that with the upticks in interest, we're fast approaching something where you're not going to be able to get on board.
Well, even near term. So what the article points out is that, and I mean, I think we're getting this out, tomorrow, when it actually is released.
It's going to be released tomorrow.
So
Wednesday.
Unfortunately, you're not going to have the opportunity to move today, as far as what we're saying here, but they're saying tonight is the State of the Union address.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So it was leaked apparently, but Trump is going to be talking about the potential of an infrastructure spending bill. Right. Which can also put pressure on rates because, again, it's inflating the economy. On top of that, the Treasury Department, so the Fed, is actually talking about increasing the issuance of longer dated treasuries, which is going to put pressure because what happens is if you flood the market, that reduces the price, right? Because your supply is big. So when the price goes down, yields go up, right? Because it has an inverse relationship. Right. So rates can continue to climb. And what I've been reading, and with each of these articles, they have the loan originator perspective. They're saying this is not a floating time to be in. Yeah. You need to lock it, right? Yeah. We're now at that point where we're going to start looking at 3 on the 10-year. Right now we're at 2.71, right? But we're now going to be looking at 3, right? And this is nothing in comparison to the 70s and 80s when rates were at like 7 and 8 and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I don't see, and they went even higher at certain points. I mean, it was
but those days of the 3s, the new normal is going to be the 4s and the 5s. Yeah. Right. And if you were pre-approved and you were barely squeaking by at 3.875, you need to readjust. Yeah. Right. Especially if you're not ready to pull the trigger right now, because this is really a big issue.
And on top of that, we're going to start seeing is a softening, potentially, if you're a seller in the market, because there's going to be less demand because people won't be able to afford to buy.
That's correct.
So it's going to be, everybody should be, if you're thinking about making a move, and this is not an exaggeration, folks, you should be thinking about doing it right now. Any way you look at this in, 6 months, 8 months, you're going to, look, I can only say this so many times, guys. You've been listening to this podcast. If I thought there was going to be some sort of crash, I would tell you if there was a crash. It's not going to be a crash, guys. It's just going to make things more difficult for you. It's going to be difficult for buyers, and it may even start to be difficult for sellers. So it's just, everybody should be moving right now. This is it. There's a starter's pistol. It's gone off. Yeah. So anyway, any other thoughts on that?
No, I think that, the next story we have here, this is from Housing Wire. Right. And this is New York, New Jersey, Connecticut plan to sue the federal government over the GOP tax bill. Yeah. Right. So what we're talking about here is the SALT tax. Right. So that's state and local taxes. And, the most recent tax reform said that they installed a cap of $10,000. But if you look at those states, primarily, the blue states on either sides of the coast.
Coinkydink. Yeah. That's a little bit of a coincidence.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it's a feature, Ron. It's not a bug. It's a feature.
Could be. They said in 2015, the average New Yorker's SALT deduction was $22,000.
That's significant.
So if you were used to getting all of your deductions taken care of, and now you have to pay $12,000 that you didn't think you would have to pay, and your property values are going down as a result of this, they're saying that that's not competitive, and that it is actually, something that is revenge. Yeah.
Right. You know what? It's going to be hard to prove that it's revenge, but it's fascinating because Trump's hotels are in these states too. So,
correct. His residence is there.
He would be shooting himself in his own foot. I don't know if I go that way. Yeah. But at the same point, it's hard to argue with it. It's punitive. Do you think they have anything that's? Do you think that they're going to succeed? What's your opinion on that? What do you think?
Do I think they're going to succeed in suing the federal government?
Well, in terms of getting any kind of satisfaction from the suing, anybody can sue.
Right. No, I don't. I don't think so either. I think it's just kind of look, we tried so they can appease their constituents. Yeah. But I don't think they're going to actually, be able to come through with it and change a law. The laws are the laws, right? Until someone else comes in charge and revises them.
Right.
Right. I mean, it is somewhat punitive if you're in those particular states, but I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I guess with all the tax reform, by changing the mortgage interest deduction from $1 million down to $750, is it fair for people that had an $800,000 mortgage balance? No, but at least it didn't go all the way down to $500. Right. And that was what the Senate wanted to propose.
Yeah, that would have been catastrophic.
Yeah, that would have really changed things. And I think another huge thing that a lot of people don't even pay attention to is the capital gains exclusion, right? So, they were proposing that you would have to live in that home for 5 out of 8 years to count a sale of that particular home as a primary residence and be able to have the capital gains exclusion. Well, they kept it at 2 out of 5 years, which makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because that would have changed how people buy homes.
Well, and especially investors.
Right.
That a lot of investors count on that.
100%.
And we're talking about the small investors. We're not talking about the big corporation investors.
Right, because they're buying as an investment properties from the outset.
We're talking about the folks who move into a house, buy a house, move into it, live in it for 2 years, take all advantage of that, that deduction basically, and then move on to the next. They put more work into it. They flip it or whatever they're going to do. And it's kind of another way for them to make a little extra money. And if it had gone to 5 years, I think it would almost killed it because people wouldn't. They're counting on it that kind of turnover in order to make that money.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the next one here. Now, this one is from the Washington Post, right? So this one is our friends from the Washington Post, and this one
Truth
is called
Dies in Darkness or something.
Yeah, there
like that.
you go.
What is it?
A good night's sleep can be a key feature in your dream home.
Yeah.
Right? So what they're saying is that a lot of builders and designers, interior designers, they're now really focusing on when they build homes and when they renovate homes, that they spend a good amount of time in the bedroom, right? And observing sleep patterns. Right, so they're putting in special lighting.
Creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, but
who is watching me sleep?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. But this one, it's
no, they're doing research.
Yeah, they're doing research, and having a good night's sleep. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
right? I mean, there wouldn't be the prices are free.
Yeah,
there wouldn't be Larry Miller at the sit and sleep if they didn't have all this sleep research.
It's funny, by the way.
Yeah,
this is kind of just a little bit off. No, it's totally on topic, but
sure.
But a little personal. I literally, there's not a room in my house that I can sleep in that isn't too bright.
Okay.
No matter where I go.
You also have kids. Right?
Well, that's even worse.
Right.
That's gasoline on the fire.
Right. Well, I mean, Karen and I, we've got.
I think there's a lot, but the reason I'm bringing this up, by the way, is because I think it's right. I think that is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it was something I didn't think about when I bought the house.
Right.
We
were talking about bringing in blackout shades and dimmable LED lights. Right. So, they are very sleep conscious.
Right.
And that seems to be a trend, right? There's a lot of different trends that are going on in real estate, and this happens to be one, right? So it's
fascinating.
It's fascinating.
That's something that people. I don't think people are going out there specifically looking for this. Well, by the way, and there's another story that you had that you had sent me about the different improvements and how they add and to a house's value, which I think is also. I want to make sure that we touch on that. By the way, a Bloomberg article about it. And I think this is kind of a correlation about when you invest into a property, what kind of value do you get back for certain things? And I have to say that there were certain things on this list that I think if there's been changes or it's counter to what I'd always heard was that I'd always heard that like money invested in a kitchen or money invested in bathrooms, that's where you're going to get the best return on your money. But what was fascinating was this article in Bloomberg was saying that no, it's actually more the exterior stuff that you do to your house that is going to get you the biggest return. I think it was like new garage doors, windows. And by the way, I totally say the window thing I thought was dead on, because I don't know how many times I've been, going through with clients and they're like, are these double pane window? It was that important to them that, it's like, oh, these windows. So that's really, and by the way, and I've heard this, and I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that once, we had an HVAC guy, a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning person come out. And we were asking them, it's like, hey, do you think we need to replace our windows? Because, we don't have double pane windows. And we were looking for ways to kind of make our house more efficient in terms of energy and, our heating not flying up. He goes, at the end of the day, that's not the big deal. They're just big holes in your house. It doesn't matter whether there's a slight change because they're double pane or whether efficient or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're big holes in your house. So he was saying that it was more important to put good ventilation up in your attic. I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I'd always heard quite the opposite. So take that with a big, huge grain of salt. It was just what this guy's opinion was, but that they were saying that the garage door, windows, external, what it was like stone.
Yeah, so they were saying manufactured stone veneer.
Yeah, veneer.
Entry door replacement, a deck addition, a minor kitchen remodel.
Minor kitchen. Now, and the point that somebody made in the article was that it was, when you think about it, it makes total sense. Let's say I go in and I want to completely redo my kitchen. I'm going to make it French provincial, and I'm going to make it like, with the big roosters and the fleur-de-lis or whatever all over the place. And that's my taste, and I love it. It's fantastic, right? Then you go to sell it, and somebody walks in and goes, ugh.
Right.
That's not what I want. So what's going to get you a better return is not redoing the whole kitchen. It's just doing like the refrigerator, the dishwasher, so maybe even the handles or something like very minor remodeling is going to get you a much better return than investing in a whole new kitchen.
Right. And we have a new guest that's coming on, and we're going to be talking about this.
Yeah,
right?
that's going to be interesting.
He does the stone and the countertops and granite and all of that. Yeah. So yeah, he'll be able to.
I'm very interested to hear what he has to say.
Absolutely.
But this kind of correlates with that whole sleep thing. It's like what people actually look for when they're looking to buy a house, and there's this common misconception that it's the kitchen, that it's the bathroom, and I think those things are somewhat important. But people are, from what this article is saying, totally cool with putting their own stuff in when it comes to that. It's more about the exterior of the house that they really, the stuff that you'd be thinking about is, what's the word I'm looking for? That's pride of ownership. Right. That really shows the pride of ownership is how well the outside of the house is taken care of. I find that really fascinating.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've had a couple of clients do this where, they bought the home where they put down maybe 10% or 5% or whatever the amount is. Then they do a pretty extensive remodel and they add value. Right. And, they're adding value in the right places, right? They're adding square footage, they're adding on a room, they're renovating a kitchen, but they're not going crazy, right? They're not just, super customizing it. But when they do that, they then can come back and we can do we can actually look and do a refi, right? So we can either do a cash out refi if they had put all their money into, into the project,
renovations,
or we could just reduce take out the mortgage insurance, and now their loan to value it goes down because they have more equity in the home, right? So they put all this extra work into it. So their payment terms are actually much better, right? So this is a real strong strategy. I have a client that I'm working with right now where, that's their plan. They're going to go in, they're going to buy it, they're putting down 10%, and then in a year or two from now, they're going to then, it's all going to be completed, and we're going to do the cash out, we're going to do the refi, right? Where they're then, hopefully the rates, aren't crazy where it makes sense for them to
launched
do it.
into the stratosphere.
Right, exactly. But they're more favorable when you put more down, right? Or your loan to value is at that level. So this is a good article. It's actually from CNBC. So it says, here's how much your home remodel will pay you back, and then it gives all the percentages of what all of these paybacks are based on the remodeling.
Give me the top three and their percentages, and the bottom three and their percentages.
Yeah, so manufactured stone veneer is 97.1%.
That's a good return.
Yeah, entry door replacement steel is 91.3%. A deck addition wood is 82.8%. And then
the bottom.
The bottom, major kitchen remodel.
A major kitchen remodel.
Is 59%. A master suite addition is 56.6%. And a backyard patio is 47.6%.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the next one, another article we have here from Housing Wire is this is about a online lender called Loan Depot. So Loan Depot unveils ambitions to expand beyond lending into entire real estate transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, it's kind of interesting. So, the way that, the traditional lender-realtor relationship is the realtors call the lenders and say, I've got a client. Can you please pre-approve them?
Right.
Right. Now, this is actually taking it the other way.
Right.
So they're saying that, look, we have this online platform that we call Mellow, which is perfect for California.
Well, but what's funny is that it's Mellow, but without the W. So whenever I see that, I'm thinking about Mello-Roos, which is a completely different thing.
I was thinking
which is not a great thing, by the way.
I was thinking Mellow Yellow.
I think it's actually a branding misstep. I think it's a terrible branding because anybody who knows about Mello-Roos Mello-Roos fees,
right?
They're not a great. You don't want to see those added onto your house.
No, and it basically is double the the amount of property tax that you're paying for a street. Like there's no actual added value to the property with Mello-Roos.
Right.
It's just for the the place around. And Mello-Roos actually, I read about this stuff. It's the name of the two people that came up with the idea, the concept.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Mello and Mr. Roos.
Mr. Mello, Mr. Roos. But this is like I think tantamount to or on comparison with when. Was it Chevy? I think it was that named their car the Nova.
Oh, right. Yeah, it doesn't.
Right? The
doesn't
no-go.
Right. Doesn't go.
This is a stupid name in my opinion. But all right, but go ahead.
Well, I'm never gonna say glowing things about my competition. So
well, let me do it for you, Ron.
Yeah.
This is a
so we'll just have Tom do it for us.
Asinine thing to call something.
But what's interesting, the concept itself, right? So basically, what they've done is they've had attracted people to their site to pre-approve, and they have this pool of all of these pre-approved potential buyers.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows how extensive they go through this pre-approval process. I'm extremely extensive.
Right.
But, there's others that, they'll just like come in and be like, okay, what do you want? All right, cool. Here's your, pre-qualification letter.
Right.
Which just protects the lender saying, I took their information and there you go. But they didn't actually go through all the guidelines.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
So who knows the extent of how
well, and I think that's
gone.
That's going to be the important question here. What's going to be showing value to everybody involved in the transaction, because right now there's already referral, real estate agent referral companies.
Right.
They will, at the end of the day, let's say I sign up with them. I think Mavoto is one, and there's another couple that are like, and they're finding, the buyer on some sort of, website or something like that. They get you to show your interest towards, that you need a agent or whatever it is.
Right.
And then you basically give them the information, and that gets over to the agent. And then the agent, contacts you. If you say you want to go with them, you go around, you look for houses, you buy that house.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the agent gives Mavoto a piece of the pie. Usually 25, 30%, something like that, right?
I see. Right.
So this paradigm, but business model already exists, right? But where this is different, and I'm kind of intrigued by it, Ron.
Yeah.
You better watch your butt. Is that because it's coming at the beginning of the pipeline,
right?
They're able to say not only that these people are interested, but I'm assuming it's also, and they're good. In terms of
correct, right,
and then they would be handing them off to real estate agents. So it's an intriguing concept from an agent standpoint.
Yeah,
as long as everybody kind of understands what's going on in the process, that it's transparent.
Right. Yeah. So there are plenty. I get emails all the time for people trying to sell me leads.
Yeah.
And you buy X number of leads and you pay for those whether they close or not. Right. But what this is doing is it's actually opening the door for realtors to receive these, work them, close the transaction, and then you give back a portion of whatever the whatever the proceeds, whatever they're asking for.
Because there are two ways that this works. There's some that do leads where you pay this kind of large upfront fee, and then they send you leads or per month. Like Zillow.
Yeah.
Like whenever you click on an agent on Zillow, they've paid thousands of dollars per month.
Right.
To get those leads.
Yeah.
And that's Zillow's big business model. Is
Correct.
They get money from agents.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting, you are the product.
Right.
If you're not paying for it, you're the product.
Yep.
And there's agents, and that's why that when people kind of started really screaming and clutching their pearls, when Zillow started to go, oh, we're going to start getting our feet wet in terms of a brokerage.
Right.
Everybody was freaking. By the way, on our side, just so everybody hears out there, when we heard, not me personally, but when other agents heard that, they freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
There was literally a kill Zillow campaign.
Yeah.
There was we need to kill Zillow.
Right.
But like I'd see the people who were working for Zillow, in our agent, like lab coat agents, which what would you call that? Like an agent group.
So Facebook group.
It's like a Facebook group. And you'd have Zillow representatives going, whoa, hold on a second.
Right.
We're not going to kill our golden goose.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are what pay our bills.
Right.
So don't get all freaky with us, right?
Right.
But so anyway, that's the one way that it's done, is that it's all this money that you pay that the agent pays per month in order to get these leads.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other way, which is this way,
Right.
which I actually prefer because it's very kind of not, it's very passive.
Right.
It's like, hey, you send me stuff.
Yeah.
I take good care of them.
I'll give you a cut.
I'll give you a cut. I'm good with that. There's nothing wrong. Everybody's happy here.
Yep.
So, I think it's a little bit more of a stable way of getting in contact with buyers who are really serious about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I mean, guaranteed rate, we actually have our own internal program, but it's for the loan officers.
Oh.
Right. So we pay, we have the opportunity to pay X amount per month, and they send us all of these leads because, guaranteed rate, people go to rate.com and they apply online. So there's this pool of people. And, the idea is that if you're part of this program, they send them to you, and then you work that particular lead.
By the way, and if you can talk to anybody over there, they should be jumping on this.
Yeah.
I'm quick.
I'm definitely going to forward it their way.
They need to be Facebook and Instagram to, what's it called? What's their company?
Loan Depot.
Loan Depot's Snapchat.
Right.
They need to eat their lunch.
Yeah. Loan Depot's actually bigger than Guaranteed Rate.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, they're huge. They're one of the top two, I think.
All right.
So yeah, there's lunches on both sides. I mean, both are they both do multi-billion dollars of transactions each year.
Sure.
But
there's nothing there that's like some sort of proprietary thing, for God's sake.
No. I mean, and banks have been doing this for years, right?
Yeah.
So the Wells and the Chases, they have a pool of all of their deposit holders, right?
Yeah.
And they have people that come in and they're like, I want to get pre-approved. And, there are people that actually do it the right way, where they start with a lender versus starting with the realtor and then trying to back it into the transaction. So they actually start the right way. And, that particular person may not have chosen an agent. So that's...
Is there... And please, if you probably maybe have a better, handle on RESPA, Real Estate Settlement and Procedures Act.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
But does that violate any kind of kickback?
With this,
yeah,
I'm sure it does not. Somehow,
or else they wouldn't have done it. But
correct, right? So
their attorneys
I think you have to
probably vetted
disclose it. I think where you violate RESPA is when you don't disclose it,
like some sort of affiliated business agreement kind of thing.
Yeah, there's got to be something. They've got to send some form. Or,
You're right.
Something.
Hey, just so you know,
effect.
we're getting a bite on the end of this.
Right. I mean, this was a press release, so I'm sure and they're a big company.
What's so funny is that Housing Wire put it out, and do they just parrot out like news releases?
Yeah, I don't.
Because it read just like a news release.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, it's not the Wall Street Journal.
No.
Let's just put it that way.
There were no journalists putting their lives on the line in trenches for Housing Wire.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And to continue down that same path again from Housing Wire, this is an article about LetGo.
LetGo.
Right. So it says fast-growing local marketplace app LetGo expands into real estate listings. Okay. Right. So, this is, you've seen the commercials where, you can just, have, take a picture of, that, we're here at WeWork. So there's a conference room, monitor over there. So if you just take a picture of that and you post it on the app, people can say, yeah, I want to buy it. And then you just put it in. It's kind of like eBay, right?
Right.
From that standpoint. But now they're saying, They want to get into the real estate business.
Yeah.
So, they're going to, have the option for consumers to list their homes as well as rentals and all of that through their app. And they see it as a huge opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, look, my feeling on that is that I can't imagine this being appealing to anyone other than for sale by owners. And, what do you really... I really am. I read an interesting article about, what is the true amount that the people who sell their own homes can lose by not going with an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the number was 13%. Like, people who sell their houses through agents get 13% more, right? Or something like that for the house. And this article was very interesting, as it was like, well, let's take a deeper look at this, right? And is that number correct? Because if it is correct, you should absolutely not, go with anything else other than an agent, because why would you hand off 13% of your home's value?
Exactly.
But it was going down this kind of rabbit hole of, well, not really. It's, they're counting, basically the people who end up doing for sale by owners are mostly just selling fabricated homes and mobile homes. Like that, skews the data like incredibly far and all that. And it came down to, it's like, okay, maybe it's not 13%.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking to myself, well, what about liability?
Yeah.
What about like when 5 years down the line, when you didn't disclose something that you needed to disclose,
right?
And that guy comes back at you and wants to sue you for 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever. And if you had an agent, they would have pointed that out. They would have said, look, you need to deal with this in a disclosure. You need to whatever, or, why didn't you do this type of disclosure? Why didn't you,
Or if they had a buyer on the other side that had as many questions as the one I just had, right? So I had a guy that basically, for the past, 30 days of my life asked every single question under the sun.
Yeah. By the way, before we started recording this, he walked in and he was literally vibrating. I actually watched him so jittery. It looked like he had 20 cups of coffee. He's like, I don't know what's going on with this thing. I don't know.
We funded, so I was able to,
it's all
in between.
It's all good in the end.
So that's the nice win. But yeah, I mean, with all these online platforms and everything, it's nice to to be able to, okay, if you got something, it makes so much sense, where it's like, I've got a home and I know you want to buy it, so why don't I just like click a button that says sell, right? And then the other one says buy, and then it's done. Yeah. And it's like, we revolutionized the whole industry, but there's so much that goes on.
There's so much, and
so many documents. And
what's so funny is in about 10 years, they'll then be bitching that they don't have enough control over the process. It's like, I want this kind of thing. Well, you can't, because you just wanted to push a button.
Well, that's right. That's right.
We could have done that, but you thought it was more important to put agents out of business.
That's right.
And put taxi drivers out of business.
And our
hotels
job
out of business.
As professionals, as lenders, and as realtors is to make the process as smooth as possible.
Right.
To make everything, appear that it's so easy.
Oh, darn. You've got to talk to a person.
Right.
Oh, my God.
I know.
A human being you've got to actually talk to.
That's right. That's right.
So,
it's not that simple. I think I agree with you. I think the FSBO market will definitely, be attracted to this side of things, but for someone who really wants a professional and wants to really have that hand holding.
Well, and by the way,
an app doesn't do a hand.
No, and let's say it's this get rid of it. What's it called? What is it?
LetGo.
Let go.
Get rid of it.
Take it off my hands. What is it called? SIA.com. The thing is that I don't know why someone would be limiting their options, because if they go through this, and if let's say it's a FSBO, and that's the thing I don't understand about FSBOs, is that you're not getting on the MLS, you're not syndicating out to all those different things, or you can put it on Zillow, you can put it on Redfin, but there are a number of other when you syndicate a piece of property and get it out there to the masses, that's you're saturating. There MLSs have got it set up so that it literally feeds into these all these different outlets that people can find your property. If you are doing doing it for sale by owner, you got okay, I'm going to go to Zillow. Now I'm going to go to this one. Now I'm going to go to that one. And you're probably going to miss 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 that that could have brought somebody in. And this is one of those things where it's like, okay, what am I going to put all of my eggs in the LetGo basket?
No. I mean,
that would be stupid.
Exactly. So,
unless I'm not understanding the concept.
Well, I mean, so you have those online, companies like Craigslist and eBay and Facebook and, all of these market things. I mean, I would look at it from the standpoint is, that's just another publication if you were to do it in the old school way. Right. That's just another media vehicle to place your home. You don't throw it all in one basket.
But also, there are certain rules that agents have to stick to in order to, and that was Facebook just got themselves in a little bit, not into trouble, but they definitely got called out by, I think it was, I can't remember. Please forgive me. I can remember who it was. But basically, the advertising that people were doing real estate wise, they were able to discriminate almost in a way,
right?
With
exactly,
and it was I only want white males that are 32 to buy this house. It's like you don't see any problem with that,
right?
It's a little bit of an issue. Facebook,
absolutely.
So they fixed that. They now
a violation of HMDA,
yeah,
right.
And so
Home Mortgage Disclosure Act,
right, and amongst other things, and with this. Unless LetGo has those things in place, why are you wouldn't, I literally just, and it's funny because before we started recording, I told Ron, I just finished my continuing education for every 4 years. I have to take 45 hours of basically relearning everything. And, the stuff the details that we have to memorize and we have to learn. It's like, guys, it's worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth it. So you don't have to worry about that stuff.
It scared the bejesus out of me. The fact that I actually had answers to all of his questions.
That dude, yeah.
Like I didn't really have to look things up. I'm like, that's what this form is, and that's what this form is, and this is why we're asking for this, and this is what this means. And the guy, it was so funny because like he went to sign the loan docs yesterday, and I didn't hear from him. I'm like, wait a second, this guy signed 168 pages, and I never heard from him. Is something wrong? So I called him up later, and he's like, no, you answered all my questions. Like, I did?
Ooh.
We did it.
Wow.
Woohoo. Yeah. So, but, it made that process. But, not everybody goes into that extent. Right. Not everybody wants to review it. And we actually sent him the loan docs Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
For him to read it before he signed it, which never happens.
By the way, I just came up with the biggest reason why you would never use this.
Okay. What's that?
Think about who's shopping on LetGo.
Oh, yeah.
The people who are looking for bargains.
Right. Of course.
Is that where you want to sell?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
you
for people that are
where
desperate.
Somebody's looking for.
I think it's for people that are desperate.
I mean, if you told me that it's like, you need to sell your house on Craigslist. Well, but they're going to be coming in and going like, I could probably get it down the street for, 75% off, or you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
that's what it's like the yard sale of.
Well, I mean, you're exactly. It's the yard sale. So you're treating your house like sneakers.
Yeah.
Right.
That you've used.
Yeah.
And that was another thing on the Alexa, I think the other day was that whole idea of the trade-in for a house. Like, that idea of like how your car, you trade in a car. No. Your car depreciates the moment that you drive it off of the goddamn lot.
Right.
Your home appreciates.
Correct.
If you are selling it for less because you just don't want to be inconvenienced by the process.
Hey, you are not a good investor.
Freaking agent walk in and, and all that.
Yeah.
You deserve everything you get.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So, all right. Anything else today?
I think we covered it.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about it for today. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them for us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Clarified Realty Podcast, all one word. If you have any questions about real estate or you're looking for someone to help you buy or sell a home, remember, I'm actually a licensed real estate agent. I'd love to help you out. So please email me directly at tom@clarifiedrealty.com or give me a call at 818-335-7662. Don't be shy. Give me a ring. For more exclusive bonus content and advice between episodes, please check out our website, www.clarifiedrealty.com. Also on our homepage, you'll find links to helpful buyer and seller guides that can give you some really great information for starting your home buying or home seller process. So definitely check those out. Here's something we're very, 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 very proud of. We have a top 10 ranked Alexa skill. So search the Alexa store for the Clarified Realty Podcast, add our skill to your daily briefing, and get a dose of real estate news and tips every day of the year. Definitely give it a try. I think it's pretty darn cool. What about you, Ron?
I agree.
All right. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My handle for all three of those are @ClarifiedRealty. Please leave feedback and reviews on iTunes or in the comment section on our page. Together we are stronger. So if you have any questions or ways that we can make this podcast better, please let us know. My amazing theme song, Hey Now, is from the band Wolf. That's Wolf with 2 F's. And please go check them out and like them on SoundCloud. And just a little fine print here, my brokerage is Keller Williams Encino Sherman Oaks. I'm licensed by the California Bureau of Real Estate, and my license number is 0171-5353. Ron's is?
Guaranteed rate, NMLS 2611, NMLS ID 558706, California and Texas.
The advice we give is only for properties located in the state of California. For all other states, please contact your local real estate agent or real estate professional. Well, that's about it. Ron, you all good?
Yeah, I'm going to have some ice cream.
Let's go eat some ice cream. Damn straight. Thanks for coming, everybody. And remember, the greatest thing you can ever do is make someone feel at home. Take care, and we'll see you next week.